Hello LinkedIn, welcome to Data Ki Baat. Today, when I was traveling from home to the venue, I was thinking that how is this culture, data culture is being talked about, how data literacy is being talked about, and about our topic today, that how the SMEs would be able to adopt data, what is the state of SMEs in terms of data adoption in India and all. So let me welcome our guest today, Sagar. So, in today's Data Key Live, we have Sagar. He is Vice President Finoplast Limited. And then, without even delay, I'll let him introduce himself a little bit and then we can get into the conversation.
Hello LinkedIn. So here I am on LinkedIn Live Data Ki Baat with Sanjeev. Thank you Sanjeev for inviting me. It's a real pleasure. And I believe one statement that has always been the most impactful in my life. In God we trust. Rest all bring data. So to introduce you to myself, I am the LinkedIn local host of Hyderabad, upcoming author for my own journey, for my own book, and a vice president in Finoplast Limited.
Good. So, as you said, right, we trust in data and anything else is basically just opinion, right? So, with that thought, I mean, how I wanted to guide this conversation is that, I mean, how can we really understand from real life experiences? I mean, we can always go ahead and read reports. I mean, how SMEs are doing, how the data is being, taken as a culture. But if you really listen from somebody who is seeing it day in, day out in the organization, or personally also, because he has built up a very thriving community. And for the community also, data is very important. How do you really use data to build the community? So, Sagar, I would just like to understand a bit from you that from an SME perspective, how your experiences are in terms of putting the data into to work for the organization. I mean, how can we, can you share some of your experiences around that so that we can give users some perspective? And obviously, we can talk about challenges and all as we move forward, but let's start from your personal experiences.
Absolutely. So you know what, Sanjeev, data is everywhere. We've been talking about data, we've been looking for data, and now the phone has got data, your USB has got data. But the importance of data is how you actually are using it. If you're not using the data in the correct way, there's no point of improvement. So we talk about process improvements, we talk about Six Sigma, we talk about lean manufacturing, we talk about 5S, Kaizen, Kokai, okay, and the list goes on,
Yeah.
right? But the basis of all these things is a problem statement. Right? Once you define a problem statement, they say the job is half done. The reason is that problem statement says that this is your problem, you need to find this problem, you need to evaluate this data, and then you have to analyze the data. So from planning to execution, it all depends on collection of data in the first place, identifying the right data. Because when you're collecting the data, there is something which is a false and something which is not the one that you require. And then comes the phase when you actually start doing data filtration, data mining, and then data analysis. So for me, this has been the journey. So if I tell you in my professional life, sometimes we come up with a situation that, we are having an issue in, let's say, certain products which are being rejected. And you look upon, oh, let's work on this, let's work on it. And the whole team works on that product or that thing. But the problem is, the root cause is lying somewhere else. I'll give you a typical example. The timing belt that we had, was every time getting failed. Right? So every time it used to get failed in 3 months, we used to stop the production, change the timing belt, and again start it. And you say, the quality of the belt is not good, Let's go for a German quality. Let's go for some other quality. So yes, we went for that quality, we paid 3x the price. The belt failed in 6 months. Why? Right? Why?
So asking why is very important.
Absolutely.
Getting to the root cause rather than the symptoms.
So you know what was it? We started gathering the data about when the belt is failing, why the belt is failing. We couldn't control the thing. We started then looking at the instrument on which the belt was being kept. The motor was vibrating and the vibrations were not recorded and the data was not collected. So मेरे पास सब data था, लेकिन मेरे पास वही data नहीं था, which was required.
Wow.
So that's
so. I mean, it comes to our conversation earlier the context also is important.
Absolutely.
Rather than, obviously data you have to collect, but in what context that person is playing, that is also very important.
Data is like an ocean. You cannot get lost in the ocean. You have to take your bucket from that ocean and analyze it.
Great insight. So I think we can talk about that example that we
Absolutely.
right. So here was a very classic example from a person who has really seen it, and that is going to be a good taking point or a takeaway for our people who is listening, SMEs, or who is really working on data or thinking that how they can really start thinking from data perspective, bringing the culture of data and driving their business out of data, and not because. So let me before that let me share some very nice example, right? So I was talking to somebody, I will not go by the name here, but again, SME sector, and but the top person of the company, but the person who is really hands-on doing the things. So while I was talking about data and how they are using it, so definitely Excel is very important. I would not say Excel is not, people not really, if you are able to know that access to whatever, do everything.
I'll just interrupt one minute. Guys, this is the statement. Excel is a gold mine.
Yep.
I can challenge that we are only using 1% to the max.
Absolutely.
To the max, 10% if you're using VB and macros and other stuff. But if you really need to work on Excel, it's a gold mine. It's an amazing tool. So yes, look out for learning Excel. And if you have any doubts, you can always get connected with us for those as well. Just off the topic.
Right. So what I understood that though there are decisions that need to be made. Yes, data is important, which is slightly to some extent driving. But I said, who takes the decision? Is it CEO or his manager name? So still, SMEs or a small or medium enterprise, we are not taking decision out of or with help of data, rather by gut.
It's by
Something is there in the mind.
I feel it.
Yeah, I feel it, and I am driving it, so I will take. But it has to be supported by data. So I think that example that we are going to see might be a very good, thing. So let me share my screen. I am going to share my screen now, and we can just see that example. Okay, so hopefully it is coming. Okay, so let me share screen.
Entire screen,
I
yeah.
will do that entire screen because I have to still learn this.
Share audio. Yeah.
The whole thing.
Perfect.
So hopefully this time it will be on top of your. So okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So can you just talk about this?
Sure. So let's take an example of a company which produces 5 products. Product A, B, C, D, E. The reason why I've taken product A, B, C because it can be any industry, it can be your industry, right? So let's say you're producing 5 products. Product A is 7,500 units. It can be kgs, liters, meters, numbers, anything that you feel. 500 product B, product C is 2,000, and product D is 2,500, and product E is 200. So looking at this data, Sanjeev, which is the most important product for your company?
I will go for the last one.
Product A, right. Now let's bring in a different perspective. Now I have a second chart for you, which talks about rejection. So when you have these products, product A has got a rejection of 250 numbers. Product B has got a rejection of 50 numbers. Product C is 35. Product D is 90. And product E is 45. So now you are the production in charge and you are, let's say, the CEO or the quality. Be whatever you want to be, right? Which product will you focus your attention on?
Go by volume.
Volume? Product A again?
Yeah.
Wow, product A is a winner, right? Let me show you one more thing. Now let's take the rejection percentage. Okay. So now which product will you take?
Changes the equation here.
Absolutely right. So you'll go by product E, I believe.
Yes.
Right. So let me open that window of data and let us put this to side. So this goes here, and we have it here. So now you have rejection as the thing. So now what's your concentration on?
Yeah, so at this moment, definitely we will go by the how to which is
Product E.
Yeah.
So guys, this is what exactly happens. Most of the time, we only go by production rejection, and we start concentrating on product A, like the quality person have done it here. I'm not naming you, you're the quality guy,
So
right?
that's the reason. I mean, we
Absolutely.
We want to work
So
like
then
that.
you said rejection.
Yeah.
So then rejection maybe product A is the highest.
Yeah.
But when you took out the percentage, a simple percentage, guys, it can be pie chart, it can be a bar graph, it can be anything that you want.
Yeah.
But the logic here is that you need to take out the percentage. Now let's go one step further. So here I have one more perspective ready for you, which talks about the rejection value. Okay. Now let me take it here. The rejection value. Now this data is completely open in front of you. Now which product will you concentrate on?
I think wherever there is a lot of money involved.
So that's product C, guys. Product A, product D, but actually it is product C that you need to concentrate. And that is exactly where the tool, which we call as sorry, Pareto analysis, the 80-20 rule comes into play. But when we apply Pareto only on production, different. Sorry, excuse me for the cough. I've just got a bad cold and cough with the weather.
By the way, weather in Hyderabad is really good. I mean, when I was coming today morning, it was like awesome.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you went on to data A because of the volume. So if you go by Pareto only by production data, you're at A, and you will work your heart and soul to improve A. But the cost of product C is the highest. So even if it's the lowest rejection percentage, your concentration should be on that product. And most of the time, by emotions, we go by the big numbers and we forget it.
And that's where not using the data. I mean, so if you're not putting the data into the context, so I mean, the whole discussion of today is around that. I mean, we want to talk about big data analytics, we want to talk about AI, ML, everything, but we are missing the basics.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, that's where I call that data literacy. I mean, when I say that, people think that, I mean, adding data and literacy, I mean, you are just dealing with companies or anybody. I mean, there are a lot of companies talking about that. But just remove the data piece. What is literacy? Literacy is to able to understand, speak, talk, interpret, and then present. So those skills, right? I mean, are we in a position to say that MSME level or anybody at that organization level, are they getting the data to use, like you just said, right? This is the key example. This is the key example of and you didn't use any analytics or as such, right? No big data in picture. Access sheet.
The reason why I did that, Sanjeev, was very important. Most of the MSMEs, or SMEs for that matter, they say we don't have funds. We don't have funds to invest into data analytics. So what I say to them, don't worry. Use Excel first, get some money. When you are capable to give that money to a data analytics by using Excel, invite the big guns. But on a small scale, start using the Excel now, which is available for free. The data that you have is available for free.
Yeah.
Just ensure that you're not going only by the numbers or by the sentiments. You should be going by what is the problem statement.
So again, if you are not sure about why piece of it, then definitely you will never reach up, where you want to reach. That why is very important, and that's where we call it a Six Sigma language. Defining the problem, what problem we are trying to solve, right? And sometimes it is also important to know why I am solving that problem. So that question is also, so changing the question is also important.
Absolutely.
So I mean, there are some data that I have collected. I think we are talking about MSMEs and then their penetration in the Indian market, right? It is 6 crores, 6.3 crores in all India. I'm talking about.
Sorry, I have to just excuse myself.
And then in that we have a rural division, like 51% rural and 49% urban areas,
Yes.
right? I mean, just think about the volume, and they are hugely contributing to the economy. Indian economy. The expectation is at this moment is around 30%, 29 to 30%.
Yeah.
And but we are, the government of India is really talking about scaling it up to the 50%. So the question comes, if we are not data savvy, or at least basics, right? I mean, start thinking in terms of data, start using the data to drive your business decision, and not by the person, or a person who is a owner, or maybe a CEO, or maybe whoever, right? You can't just go by that. Again, there is experience required. I mean, definitely the person is experienced and he can take some decision. But the idea is that, are you putting the data into the play and then validate those decisions or not, and then take, like you said, right? You started from A, but ultimately it was C that you should have worked on.
No, but if I would, I mean, I'm not undermining the people who have that experience or that gut feeling. But if I were the person who was a CEO, I would have concentrated everything onto the product or onto the rejection percentage and ignored product C at all. But what is important is here that along with data, you also should have a complete perspective, the holistic picture of what your organization wants to achieve from that data. And the most important, networking, communication should be there in your organization at all levels. Because when communication is there at all levels, the data will be open, the data will be shared, and people will be very, very open to, communicate with each other and work as a team. Otherwise, what happens is when you have to share the data, most of the times, because see, being a VP, I see that in management review meetings, people only talk about the good data or the data they want to show, and they present the data in such a way as if, sir, you have chota problem, and we will solve it. But when you ask them some tweaking questions based on your interaction with other department, they just can't answer it. It's because then the data comes out. Then they say, okay, this is it, and because of this is what's happening, and the correlation starts. And then is the real meeting that you have to have. So having experience, yes, but having communication between the teams is also very important. Just my 2 cents.
No, definitely. I mean, so I mean, obviously you are into it. You are holding a position where you can probably create that kind of a mindset, or
A
culture, right? I mean, and again, I said we are making up a word here, right? Data culture. But again, let's take off the data. So what is culture? I mean, the culture is basically the way we want to do certain things, right? I mean, if you really see. So there are some philosophies that, okay, I want to do this in certain way, and then you have got some stories to support that philosophy, and then finally you take action, and that becomes a culture, right?
Yes.
So the culture becomes like that. I mean, you first think that, okay, I should be doing this way, this thing this way. So if I have to use data, probably I'll say that I want to do these 4 things,
Right.
and then you support that with a story, like your story, right? You said that you have been able to figure out a few things, and then find the C is the picture. C is the product that people should have been
Yes, yeah.
right? So that story will support that, hey, we have to think in this way. And then when you put into the action, so I mean, data culture is not a big terminology, big buzzword. People just take it differently. I mean, I'm saying that take the data off. Talk about culture. Let's talk about what is culture is this.
Guys, aren't we all very good storytellers? Sanjeev, you made a very, very, very valid point that whenever the data comes, we always have a story around it.
Yes, the data stories are there.
Right? And there are sometimes the stories to fudge the data.
So that's fine. I mean, that's always I don't think anybody can forget that example. It's a very simple example. In this world of big data, all those big things that we are talking about, cloud and everything, that example is a very ground level basic example. But it will strike you if you are listening, if you are from company thinking that, hey, data analytics or maybe data is not my thing, and I will wait for that, probably that revenue to come, and then I will implement. I will only buy the big data or big things, and then only I will do. No, that's not the right thing to do. You can start from action. There are some open tool like, I mean, we talked about AI publisher. We are talking about Tableau. They're free. You just have to start using whatever you have got and start thinking in terms of data and start taking your I would say, insights out and then put into business. And then
Shall I share one secret,
yeah,
the
please.
business secret about what you said about data and big data?
Yeah.
I know it's the most amazing secret about big data is it's a collection of small data.
Wow.
So don't need to worry for the big data to come in. The big data, I mean, I'm just being a little bit on the sarcastic style, but the big data is there, but you are an SME, you are an SME.
Yeah.
Your data is not going to be impacted by the big data on everyday life.
Right.
Your Excel sheets, your data, your team, your staff can always do everything. Now, there's one question that I always get when I get associated with MSMEs. Sir, we don't have computers on the shop floor,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Do you need computers for the data? I would not say yes all the time,
Yeah.
because you have check sheet. Take a simple white paper, A4 size paper. I'm just giving an example. Take a A4 size sheet paper. Take a pencil which you already have. Take the ruler. Draw whatever you want to draw.
Yeah.
And in kids, in school we used to have
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many of you remember this? Make the check sheet with that data. That's it, and that becomes your bar graph, pie chart, anything, and use that. कंप्यूटर के पहले की दुनिया चलती थी दोस्तों. Computer is to make life easy.
I mean, it's being resourceful rather than looking for a resource.
Absolutely. No, I'm saying don't give an excuse that I don't have the laptop or the desktop. So excuses is something which I would never buy in.
Yeah.
If you really want to do something, there's always an option.
There is always an option. Yeah.
Because Sanjeev, I come from a very humble background, and I did my masters in London without my own computer. I mean, doing an MBA without a computer for today's kids is like, is it possible? No, I did it. So I'm saying even the data, even the factory, even the company, even the small SMEs can be managed by a piece of paper. You make something rough and make a copy and Xerox it and give it to the shop floor. That's what I did in the initial stages. That's how you start the little bit of the digital transformation. You bring the awareness. You bring in the people who are interested to make those things, and making a chart sheet is the simplest. We've all learned 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 5. Right?
I think that's. I mean, I ask this question every time, and this is my. I mean, I think guiding principle. I mean, we see that whole time, right? People, process, and technology.
Absolutely.
I mean, and you just said it rightly. I mean, what you just said is that it is more of the person who is there at that situation and how we want to probably still do it, despite having those adversities or maybe blocks or lack of resources and all, right? So it's basically mindset. We are coming down to the same basic principle, right? I mean, it is all about how you want to take that piece. So I'll share one example. I have a very small stint in the MSME sector. I used to be in a steel plant, and I have also seen it to an extent. But yeah, I mean, after that maybe things might have changed. But there used to be always a plain, I would say, way of presenting things. Like, I mean, there used to be a lot of reports, and even if it was generated from a computer, which was put as a part of the management strategy, that, okay, this is what I want to use for inventory management. There used to be a people who will used to spend a lot of time to validate that thing. I mean, okay, agree. There is required. I mean, you require to cross-check things. But once you have probably decided by using your business practices or your inventory management practices within your operation, you're putting something in place, then you wanted some time so that you can do more from there. You cannot just go and look at. Maybe you can use the data to analyze few things, put some visualization, put some prediction, something. But it was always right there where the data is. We never gone beyond that. So how do we convert that piece is really missing, and I saw it long back also. I don't know what is the situation now. So how is your take on that? I mean, you gave a classic example already, but I am just saying that okay, still not I saw that, but
no, even I interact with many other MSMEs also offhand, because I love to give advices and consult people and try to increase their productivity, because just diversing a little bit. Most of the time, people don't understand productivity. When you talk to MSME about productivity, they only talk and they think that productivity is just increasing production. It's not. It's not that simple. Productivity in the real terms is yes input and a ratio to the output, but I would say it's basically the product of efficiency and effectiveness. How efficient your people, your processes, and your technology is, and how effectively you use them. That multiplication, that product of efficiency and effectiveness will give you productivity. So coming back to your question, so when you have the resources now that we are we're going to industry 4.0,
Yeah.
we are going to in the mobile world, we are going to 5G, and we are going to connectedness, we are going towards AI, ML, and all that stuff which is available to you.
Yeah.
Yes, it's expensive right now, but then the other things which were used earlier, like Excel, like Microsoft BI, they are all becoming free of
It is
cost
available.
or very very negligible in the cost,
Yes.
right? So people from paper, yes, they are still on the paper and they validate. There's a maker, there's a checker, there's a maker, there's a checker, and they invest their time on the maker checker concept. But I would say, guys, you have tally. I mean, every single business in India, because of the GST, I think 83 or 85%, if my numbers are right, are on tally or any other ERP,
Yes.
right? So when we have such big chunk on an ERP, why can't you take out the data from that tally
Right.
or the ERP or any other thing, put it into Microsoft
Absolutely.
BI,
That's the point. Yeah.
and enjoy? So the digital transformation is just knocking at your door. All you have to do is just open the door.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Definitely. That's it. So we are resting the data where it is and not converting it to the inside so that you can make decision by data.
We live by that standard pie chart. Like I purposely use that pie chart is because 90% of the people who I meet are either on the pie chart or on the bar graph. But they don't go beyond that.
And unfortunately, I have not seen that also when I was there. I mean, it was
Oh.
so plain.
Okay.
I mean, see,
okay.
people really understand the visual more than the textual
Yes.
stuff, right? Tabular format definitely makes sense, but it kind of boggles your mind. You kind of feel that you're, kind of spinning, your head is spinning. But if you really put, I mean,
No, Sanjeev, simple example, guys. We had 5 products. Imagine if that data line was running into 10,000 points.
yes,
Will you be able to read that table?
definitely not.
Not for the human mind to read it within a few minutes. Yes, there will be extraordinary geniuses out there, but can you recruit them only for that data?
But we are talking about normal data scientists.
Exactly,
We are not
so-
talking about a data scientist here. I'm not advocating data
No,
scientists.
I'm just being.
Yeah. I mean, I want to still be with those people because
Yeah.
because we are talking about those who are
No, those are
thinking.
those are gems.
Gems.
But there are, let's say, few 100,000 data scientists, or maybe some few geniuses who can just scan, read through 10,000 line items and say, oh, this is a
Yeah,
problem.
before the interpretation.
But we have Excel, we have Microsoft BI, and we have other things that are there available to transform that. So as you rightly said, that reading a tabular format becomes really difficult. But when you convert that into a bar graph, a pie chart, or a scattered plot diagram, it's like, wow.
You can correlate. You can
Absolutely.
probably decide where is that 20%, which you know.
You can put
really
colors, you can put arrows, you can put comparison of previous month to this month. You can have a Pareto line running through. You can have a 80-20 principle. You can have percentage. You can have so many things can be done.
These are all,
I mean,
these
it's
are
like
simple basic thing we are talking.
very very simple, and this is all one time.
Yep.
Because what happens is when you do it one time, and the next time is only you have to populate the data, keep populating the data, and the graphs keep updating. So the fun is
Yes.
you don't have to do rework.
Yes. So one point which I was, again as a item I was thinking about. I mean, how we can bring those pain points out here. So one more thing which I want to do. I mean, if somebody is still thinking that it is really hard to adopt, so there is a misconception that this big thing, analytics, big data, blah blah blah, this AWS or Azure or cloud, all these are a talk of a big company, but it is not. I mean, Sagar here, from his experience, who is holding that position where he can do that stuff, is clearly saying from his experience that it is not the only thing. I mean, it is not the talk of those big people. You can always scale it down to your level. Start where you are, right, with whatever is available, I think these small tools also have got prediction models,
Absolutely.
and it is by click.
Yes.
You can also put, I mean, you can just put the data, and they will also suggest that what kind of a chart makes sense.
Absolutely.
And then you just have to interpret it and try influence your everyday decision, everyday talk, everyday meetings, and stay and go away from that whole thing. Again, Excel is still important.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
you have
absolutely.
to move up, right? Otherwise, how do you adopt it if you really have to adopt big analytics in some point in time, right? So the point here is that SMEs have got a advantage of agility because of the size, right?
Absolutely.
And big enterprise never had that. So
Mm.
big enterprise basically struggle. I mean, because we always see the greener side of it, right? I mean that grass is always greener on the other side, right? We think that okay, maybe they have got a money, but they have got a lot of problem because of the size, the scale, the process doesn't move. I know it takes a lot of time for the approval and all, but you guys can probably decide on the fly. Like,
It's like
right, right. So you have an advantage of agility. You can speed up the whole thing, and then you can move faster, right? But the big enterprise may have the money, revenue to really buy those big tools and all, but they probably is lacking on the agility piece of it, because
Very true.
it takes time.
It takes time, and one decision or one wrong decision can impact
Also,
huge.
impact is also so agility, speed, and impact level of impact. It is in your favor, SMEs,
Absolutely.
right? It is not in their favor, right? So we can always think on those lines that how we can see this positive side of it, and then not worry about what is not available. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I think coming back to the point of that one point of decision making,
Mhm.
coming back to the point of how it can be probably showcased, because now people will ask, okay, show me the example.
Yeah, true.
Like you give an example, but I don't know how many. People would always ask for the okay, you are advocating that SME should adopt it, and then it is easy and it is possible. These are the tools available, but show me the example.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of so that made me think that okay, how we can have that role model or a role model organization
Mm-hmm.
showcased or created in a
Mhm.
way
Mhm.
where okay, people can take example and then maybe copy paste. And
Sure. I mean, 10%.
yeah,
It's
but
making.
okay, the process of method can be just followed
True.
so that they can start seeing the benefit, because it's not easy telling and then making them believe that okay, no, it is possible.
Yeah, I mean, there's a structure, and they just have to adopt to that
Yes,
structure.
that format or maybe that worksheet that they can just start doing. Okay, I followed this 10 step, and then probably I'm there, right? So how can we, think on those lines? So do you think that there is a way we can get into, that kind of a mode where if somebody really have those kind of a question, can your experience or your example or format? I mean, obviously it is a voluntary thing. I mean, I know there are not doing, but what kind of a role model we can think of or create or promote so that people can take those example and move forward.
So
Because seeing is believing. I mean, you have to show them.
no, absolutely. See, there is a structure. See, everybody at the end of the day, what are we working for?
Obviously, I mean, if you are self-employed, you are working for your person, but obviously to make sure that your company is moving up, profitability, there are some purposes also involved, because company always have purpose and they are driven by some values and all those things. But so you have to basically, okay, so let me put it this way. You have to abide by the guiding principle that you have. That's the only thing.
Now, for me, all this is, what you said is absolutely true. Coming to the bottom line, all of us, when we are in a factory or when we are in an industry or when we are in manufacturing or marketing or sales, the only thing that we work for is
Thinking.
money.
Yeah.
Money, right? How you utilize that money decides about your passion, about your growth, about your vision, about the society, about the cultural, about the business excellence. That's something different. But to do all these activities, you have the right intentions. But to fuel those intentions, to fuel those passion, to fuel those things, you need money. That's a fuel. I'm saying that's a tool. I'm not saying that's everything in life, but that is mandatory for you to take certain steps forward. Like even if a free NGO is there, forget about an SM or MSME.
Yeah.
Even if an NGO is there, and that NGO says that I want to feed 1 lakh children, or I want to educate those 1 lakh children, they need the data
They got to be there.
about what the children are, what is the inflation, what is going to be the prediction 5 years down the line, what is the cost of education, what is the cost of living, what is the cost of food and other things. And based on that, they need to identify who all other companies are available to give them the CSR that they need, what is the fund available, whom they can tap into, and do all that. So data is the Bible which can reach or which can be used for anything. So what I'm saying is that all we are doing is money. Now coming back to your question about is there a standard format? I'm saying I have been using some tool which is called as ISO 9001, which is a process system which talks about, you have checkpoints at every processes, you have review meetings, you have root cause analysis, and for those root cause analysis you have tools like Ishikawa diagram, 5 why analysis. And when you go into Ishikawa diagram, you need to go to step one when you validate, is this process having a control mechanism? If yes, then what is that control mechanism? Where is the data coming from? Then going forward, then what is your process efficiency, like the values of CP, CPK and other values. So taking all that into account, I'm saying there is a standard already available. There are cultures already available. There are systems already available. They just need to write.
Willingness is important.
Absolutely, there has to be a willingness and there has to be an amalgamation between the people by giving them the right training, generating the processes, creating SOPs. Like, guys, we say PDCA, plan, do, check, act. They need to have those kind of processes. I mean, PDCA has been a Bible for me. Anything you do, the root is lying in PDCA. Be it Six Sigma, be it lean manufacturing, be it 5S, be it Kaizen, be it creating G80 reports like global 80 reports for rejection analysis and other stuff. But PDCA, that's very, very simple. Now, we all use PDCA every single day.
Every single time, yeah.
And even when you have to wake up in the morning, you're doing a PDCA by putting an alarm clock. And जब वो सुबह alarm नहीं बजता या snooze बजता है, you get up and say, कल मैं जल्दी उठूंगा. So you always have a check and analysis, but then the action item is missing because next day again the snooze button comes in. I say tell your wife to just put cold water on your face and you will definitely wake up. So just
Why did not I get up?
yeah. So saying that there's a standard available, yes, but there are three main important things. I'll repeat them. People, give them the right training to get them to the right mindset, build the right culture, give them the right infrastructure, give them the right amenities. Because when you train them, it's like telling the people that you've been trained, this is a gun, now shoot and fire. Guys, where are the bullets? Right? The bullet comes with providing the right infrastructure, using the right technology, and using the right amenities to do them. So giving them training, understanding all that, but if you're not giving them the right ammunitions, they will have all the guns in their head, they will have all the ideas in their head, and they'll not be able to do it. Right? So people, process, technology.
I think
This is like
I definitely live by that. Six Sigma being a Six Sigma graduate also, I kind of really fully agree with you. But these three things, right?
Yeah.
And I put the people first. Definitely.
Absolutely.
I kind of get cross questions on that. But you just whatever we had talked. I mean, if you really see the theme of all things, we are only talking to drive this whole data-driven culture via people, not via technology. I mean, if you really see. So if you start with them, then the willingness comes, then you put the process, and then you see the technology which one is fitting for you.
yes, many people out there would be arguing with us that guys, robotics and AI and ML is coming and all that. But I don't say no for that. But I then have one statement which you and me will definitely resonate. GIGO, right? I mean, I'm sure you've heard of it, but so GIGO is very simple: garbage in, garbage out.
Something like that. I was thinking which kind of character you're talking about.
Yeah. So
garbage in, I mean, it's a way of life in any data professional. I mean, and I also promote this concept of data stewardship.
yes.
I mean, what I say is that everybody, again, it's very important for SME also. So what I'm saying is that the person who is handling account in an SME is basically should be assuming a role of data steward.
Yes.
So if he is not doing that, then that whole thing that we are talking about is have no meaning.
Absolutely.
Right? Data stewardship is not about probably having a label on you that okay, you are the data steward and you will own. No, it's basically how do I want to work? I mean, I'm thinking that my work should be done, and that's where the culture comes. So it is basically culture. I mean, you have to feel for that data that you are using, and you got to believe that okay, if I have to use it properly and generate some value, I got to clean it. have it, keep it clean, and then pass it to the next level.
Very
But
true.
if I start passing the bad thing out there, then the whole chain. I mean, if you in the Lean 65 manufacturing,
Absolutely.
if you're really passing the maybe a defect, then basically the whole thing is basically going to be crashed,
Yes,
right?
yes,
So and that's where this gods comes. I mean, you know that, right? Gang of better steward. That's the
Yes.
community I am trying to thrive. I've still got a lot, a long way to really cover. But I'm really passionate about it because I don't want to really put everything there, right? Community has got a purpose, and this whole thing has got a purpose. So now coming back to the community, and that's very interesting. I mean, that's where I met Sagar. I met him in a LinkedIn local event, and since that time, I've been really impressed by how he has been able to use his process knowledge, data knowledge, being into a position where he does all those stuff to create a thriving community. I mean, in Hyderabad, I think I'm not sure, and it will be understatement if I say that people is really aware and they enjoy that whole thing, right? So let us first start with there is one thing which nobody knows about your struggle building that community. I mean, it has to be something which nobody knows in terms of how did you manage to build such a thriving community in Hyderabad.
Okay.
And data, importance of data into that again,
Absolutely.
because this is a data key path.
Without data, nothing is happening. I mean, even when we go to the simplest level, if let's say your mother or your wife wants to cook something at home, she needs to have the data ki ghar pe kya saman hai. She can't just cook anything. So getting the data is important. So coming back to LinkedIn Local, right? What made me get into LinkedIn Local was three core values. People are worth meeting, stories are worth sharing, and collaboration and not competition.
Awesome.
Right? So I said this is something which is very, very close to my heart, and I really loved it and I resonated with the thought. So I said, let's do it. Now, getting onto the data. So first is where are all the venues located? What is the costing part, and listing down that, and then talking to other event people and going to other events and finding out that there are only hardly 15 people, 20 people, 30 people turning up. And here I'm talking about a LinkedIn Local connecting 10 lakh users in Hyderabad on one platform. This is like, wow. So that was my first data collection that I tried to collect all the users, who the users are, where they are, what are they distributed, what is
What are their interest?
exactly kind of stuff. So that took me around. So I registered for being the host in October, but I launched my first event in December. So that 3 months is what I did my data journey, is what you can say, data collection or data journey or data journey. And then the second thing was, what do people like? So, normal networking event, when you go, all you do is you take out your business card. I'm sure we all have a business card, right? We give it.
Yeah.
And all you do is, wow, इससे मुझे क्या फायदा मिलेगा? What am I going to use this business card for? What is this position? And
it is always driven from that. Okay, what I am gonna get?
exactly. So I said, let me disrupt this mindset. So I said, first thing is, let's not bring business cards. Let's not do business card networking first thing. So then I went on to putting up the thing saying that, LinkedIn Local Hyderabad is an extension to the LinkedIn Local Global movement, which is meeting and connecting people beyond titles. So पहली बार title निकाल दो. Now when you remove the title, your 8 hours is out. Now I want to know who you are in the 16 hours that you have.
Awesome.
And that's how I started collecting the data, that how many people would resonate with that thought. And it was tough in the first meeting. I had a turnout of only 16 people, to be very frank. But I didn't go down. I still researched on the data and I started looking at what people want there. So then I came up to a point after looking at several other things. I would not name the events though, because it will be conflict. So I looked at they're all standard. Speakers come, panelists come, they talk, they go, they move, and that's it. They drink, the one thing people are missing is experience. The experience that you create in an event.
That's the topic that I just love.
Yeah.
I'll speak. Please carry on.
So that was my data collection for 3 months, and then from December onwards, then I started. And to summarize it, today we are a thriving community of more than 600 plus individuals online in Hyderabad, and around more than 10 lakh users in LinkedIn as a LinkedIn Local global community that we have. And the best part is there was one person, Ashik Manjani, I would love to take that name. He was here in Hyderabad, in Meeting Local Hyderabad. He went to New Zealand, Auckland, and within 3 months, because of the power of the community and the data that I had of the global community and shared the connect details with him, he's right now associated, already got a job, he's already got his own, he's settled in the place, and he's also a part of LinkedIn Local Auckland, and he doesn't feel out of the world. So that's the power of a community, that's the power of the data. But yes, as you rightly said, it took me a while. And we recently celebrated on 30th November.
So congratulations.
The anniversary.
It is a great achievement, I would say. I mean, I personally want to congratulate, because this is very important topic to me. I mean, wherever data is, I want to be really understanding and learning and also contributing what. So these two things I picked up. Right? One is experience. I mean, this is one thing. I mean, and you can only drive experience when you really know behind the scenes, right? So we have to capture the people or the person or the individual behind it. When we somehow get driven by data most of the time, though data is important, but the experience you can only extend when you know the people behind it. And that's where the community comes into the picture. And that is also a data, but that is not your quantity, it is just qualitative ones. Because how are their likes, dislikes, and those are mostly unstructured.
It's more of an attribute data.
Yes, they are unstructured. I mean, my thought feeling, they are data.
Yes.
And that's not how I preach, right? I mean, say that master your data, master your life. That means what I am saying is that it is, if you are able to manage your feeling and thought, that is also a data.
It's an amalgamation of data with empathy.
And empathy, definitely. So the people behind data is important to build the community. Yes, I've been doing that. Mine is really growing. There are a couple of people who are really bought in, 10 at this moment I would say, but they are really understanding the concept. We are going slow because this whole thing about the data and then making the data aware community or people, data has to be simple for everybody.
Right.
As MSME, the whole topic is this. Right? It has to be simple for MSME, whoever is doing in accounting or in an inventory department, in a store department, or at the gate.
Absolutely.
Right? It has to be simple for them. They should not feel afraid that okay, we are talking about data analysis. We are not talking about that. We are talking about how can we just use your common sense, like you said, right? My mother also has to plan at what would I give to my son today for lunch.
And she needs to have the data of the inventory.
What is there in the kitchen
and the data of empathy quotient. What does my son or my husband or my children like, right? Because if she does not have that thing, obviously all mothers have it, but that data is important, right? So,
right. So what is next for you in terms of LinkedIn? I mean, I know maybe events keep coming, but what next? 1 year is then celebrated. There are 600 people.
So see, the target, obviously I would say that I would love to have a community where I connect to every single user in Hyderabad.
Yep.
And make it more in terms of experience, more in terms of networking, more in terms of collaboration, more in terms of business. And it's not only about at the end of the day the business, because like Ashik, I said the example, the purposely I use that example is we never expect to do business in New Zealand or Auckland right now, sitting here, when he's doing a business of trading right now. Right? Yes, if he's doing global, definitely he can think over it. But never in his life he would have thought that in 1 year I'll be shifting to their place. And that's what LinkedIn Local. It's a power of networking that I always keep on saying that, my life journey began, as I said, very humble. It's from the slums, and 26th July 2005, my house was under 8 feet water, and the height of the house was 10 feet. Now you can imagine what I have left.
That flood.
The first city flood in India, which was in Mumbai, destroyed everything for me.
It is.
And coming from that level, networking, the connections, empathy has always been a prime focus for me. So I'm not saying data is not there, but all this is there. And because of that, I collected a lot of data. After that, I collected a lot of data about what is to be done, and I wanted to learn while I earn. So that's when I said I'll go to London. So even then I had to have the data of history. I said the Britishers are the one who have ruled the world, right? Now who better can teach me management than them? So I said,
oh man.
Yeah, so I mean, you have to do the research. So I did that, and I said, if I do my MBA or master's, I'll go and do it in UK. So even that was data. So life has been around data, and I'm sure every single listener, you have data, you have been using data, you will be using data till you die. And even when you die, the data will be used because your body weight will be calculated with the wood or the electronic thing that you want. to do the funeral. I'm being very very straightforward, but that is inevitable. So even at the net bed, data is required. So guys, where is data not? I mean,
it is everywhere. So I think you got to that. I mean, so definitely the message is this. I mean, if you can master your data, you can master your life. I mean, that's where. So, and then life means what? I mean, basically, our life is what? We go to office. That is part of the life. You are running a business as an MSME, SME. That's your life, and there is a data involved right there, right? So you got to really think on those perspective. Think about data culture, think about data literacy. Don't be very shy about the word literacy. I mean, we are not talking about that old thing where Siksha and all those was not there, people were not literate. We are not talking about that. We are talking about a different time of the world here at this moment. Here, literacy remains same. You are definitely, and we are all literate, but we are talking about literacy in terms of data. Right?
So let me put it in a different context. When you say data literacy, it's about common sense and the requirement. What is the common sense says, and what is the need of the business, and the sensitivity. When these three join in, the literacy is a byproduct. Because being data literate is about being aware, being sensitive, and being cautious about what is the need of your business. Common sense, right? And I'm sure you all are data literate.
Definitely.
So as on today, I declare all of you guys, you're all data literate because you all have common sense.
Yes.
Just take out the fear of not being a data literate, and I'm sure you all are winners and you all have the data. Just use the right tools to analyze that data. And in case if you have any doubts, you can feel free to always ping us.
And whoever is at this moment live, we can't just see that because we are too much focused in what we are trying to do, and we are very much into it. This conversation, we are. I mean, that's where the passion comes in. He is like a community guy. I'm on the same lines. So we just don't want to worry about who is there. But the good thing is that this is going to be put in as a video as well.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions going forward, also you can definitely put it into the this thing, and we would definitely take that question up.
Absolutely.
We will answer it via either a post or an article, or maybe if you really want to talk to, then I think at least my number is up there in the email. I mean,
my number, my email ID is there. And
So we
even
can
if
talk
you
about
want to
that.
go forward and
Yes.
you want to share some questions where you want us
Yes.
to have one specific session based on those problems,
yes.
we are free to.
I think yes. I mean, we can talk about this process improvement thing,
Absolutely.
Six Sigma stuff, data visualization. We can talk about basic. I mean, I think the whole idea is to give. That is my way of giving. I'm here representing a thought process, which is basically how do we make data simple, right? I know Sagar, we talked about that. So how do we make simple if there is a tendency to really share what I know,
Absolutely.
and I would not shy away from thinking that okay. People might just know it. I mean, I don't want to think that. I just want to share because there are somebody who might not know it.
So, to summarize it, we started with saying, in God we trust, rest all bring data.
Data.
That's one point. Second is people, process, technology, training, giving them the right culture, giving them the right tools and guns filled with ammunitions. That is right infrastructure, amenities and technology.
Bullet जरूर चाहिए.
Bullet zarur chahiye.
चाहिए.
And then comes the authority and accountability, because when you give all these things, the person should have a little bit of authority, accountability, and when that comes, you are creating an autonomous culture, and that will result into symphony. And trust me, guys, if that happens, you are only creating business excellence where your customer delight is at the prime focus, and when the customer is happy, the employees are happy, your pockets are going to be full. The society will respect you for what you are.
And you can always contribute to the society because if you've got revenues, you can do those work that you really want to do. Right?
That I leave it to the good souls out there.
So I think and this one point, I mean, again I'm bringing that, right, those empowerment piece, right? So there is an approach, right? Top up and bottom up. I mean, so idea is that if it is driving from the top, like he is as a VP trying to drive the data thing, but the things can be different there. And there may be somebody in your department very passionate about data, so you can ally with that person. You can have that person empowered and make him also help you and start the advocate on the floor.
You're very right, Sanjeev. I did that for 2 years, and trust me, after, I mean, it's been my 9 years journey now. I did that for first 2 years. The third year, I started giving a bird's eye view. The fourth year, I was only at the other side of the table reviewing it. And from the fifth year onwards, I'm just sitting and observing things, and I allow them to take the decisions. I allow them to present the data, and I just be as a mediator to them. In case if they're going wrong, I would say, hang on a minute, I'll intervene. That's what I do.
They are the gods on the floor.
Absolutely.
They are gods on the floor. That's where the concept, whole idea is that the person who works on the floor day in, day out really knows and live that whole passion and mindset. And obviously, leadership is important. You have to get the right strategy, right direction, so that it can follow. And then jump in and help them wherever they are stuck. So that's the whole idea. Anything that you want to know more, we can always talk about the session. After that, also you can really get in touch. I think Sagar has very well summarized. But yeah, before closing, it is all about people. You got to then define your process and then see what technology fits in, and then you would definitely is going to thrive. You will be able to use the data. You will create the good culture, data culture rather here in this case, and then people will be passionate and not afraid about the data and using it to give you business benefits. So that's where the whole thought process. Thank you for being with us in this call. Any last parting thoughts, Sagar?
Have fun, enjoy the data. You are the data literate.
Yes. Thank you very much. And this is Sanjeev signing off from Data Ki Baat Live. Talk to you soon. Thank you.